everybody, and welcome to our top 10 quick comic picks. I'm Andy,
I'm Matt.
and we're here with Infinity Flux Comics out of Chattanooga, Tennessee. And this is our short show where we show you 10 of the most exciting books we think you'll want to pick up from your local comic book store or ours or our website this week. So let's get into it because it's a pretty big week.
Yep. Lots of big ones. Starting with probably the biggest this week. This is the Flash #1, the new run of Flash written by Cy Spurrier, and the art is by Mike Deodato Jr. In this one, the Speed Force is kind of on the fritz, right? And Wally knows it. Mr. Terrific knows it. They're both researching it, but they're doing it separately. They're not really sharing notes, so we'll have to see where that goes. But there's a lot of other weird things going on too. There's weird things happening with Wally's kids. Grodd and his army are up to no good, putting people in stasis bubbles. There's all kinds of stuff. A lot of moving parts in this. A brand new Flash series. So if you're looking for a good jumping on point for Flash, this might be a good one.
But first up for me is Power Girl #1. So this is slightly spinning out of her backup stories here in Action Comics, but you didn't have to read that to get into this one. It just picks up some of those story beats. But this is really good. So Power Girl's never felt more a part of the Superman family. She kind of finally feels like she fits in. She's got a new name. She's going by Paige now. She's got a job. But of course, for superheroes that can't last long, when something terrible happens, it may all be her fault, and Superman comes to her and says, I've got a big problem and only you can solve it.
Mm.
So her life gets thrown into chaos, but really fun, great art in Power Girl #1.
Next is Iron Man #10. I know a #10 issue being in our top 10 is kind of weird, but this is the much ballyhooed wedding of Tony Stark and Emma Frost. But there's more going on to it than what it seems. They have ulterior motives. They have a plan for why they're doing this, and if you want to know why it is, you'll have to read to find out.
And I've got Ultimate Invasion #4. This is the final issue of kicking off this new era of Ultimate Comics. So I can tell you as much about this as I can't tell you about this because there's still a lot of moving pieces. Even after it's finished, I will say you do see how and where the new Ultimate Universe starts and maybe when. But there's still a lot of remaining pieces from this story that are not all, wiped off the board to start a new universe. So if you want to get in on where that starts, check out this final issue of Ultimate Invasion.
Next is a one shot. This is Stuff of Nightmares Red Murder from Boom Studios. So this one is about a comic creator named Alex Oxaka. He creates a comic book called Red Murder. It becomes wildly popular, but he doesn't really reap any of the rewards. 20 years goes by. He's kind of faded out of the limelight, even though his creation is very popular. But then their murders start to happen that mimic what happened in the comic book. Who's behind it? Maybe it's him.
Next up for me, this is Void Rivals #4. I continue to really enjoy this book, and not just because of the tie-ins with the G.I. Joe and Transformers and Energon universe. No, a lot happens in this one with our main characters, but also, speaking of those references, there's probably our biggest cameo to date in this issue that you don't want to miss.
And next is Batman Catwoman, The Gotham War, Red Hood #1. This is going to be a two-part miniseries featuring Red Hood that is part of the Gotham War storyline. In this one, Red Hood joins Selina's crew to help train some of the henchmen that she's brought into her organization. But maybe he has ulterior motives for doing that as well, and that might interfere with her operation.
But I've got Action Comics issue 1057. This actually kicks off a new story arc in the main story called Revenge of the Demon, which is really good. And we I would say, our actual full first appearance of Nora Stone, who is the leader of the Blue Earth movement,
Mm.
who wants to get rid of all aliens on the planet. Plus, there is a really good backup story about Connor Kent that is leading to some new upcoming DC books, so you don't want to miss that one.
And last for me is Immortal Thor #2. This is Thor versus Taurenos. Uh, Thor has to summon down the all power, to take on this huge cosmic being. But with the all power comes the all sleep. And will he be able to stay conscious long enough to defeat this big new foe?
And lastly, for me, I've got Miss Marvel, the New Mutant #2. This is really good. Kamala's been having some very weird dreams, including one with a character called Dr. Surfer.
Mm.
But what happens when she realizes, hey, maybe I've seen this character somewhere before. Maybe I came up with them. So you don't want to miss this issue. Plus, it's got a pretty good tie-in with what's going on with Iron Man and Emma Frost. So if you're following that whole story, it's also featured in this. So very cool. And that is it for our top 10 quick comic picks. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to head to our website, infinityflux.net, where you can order all these books right now. All the cool ones you see, plus pre order upcoming books. And stay tuned for our next show where we'll be going over all these books in much more detail and showing you the variant covers, all that cool stuff. So, thank you so much for watching, and until next time,
See
see
ya.
ya.